and there's going to be a beauty sector of discussion. The beauty sector in India has been immense growth and transformation. We now have panel on decoding the phenomenal rise of D2C beauty and personal care brands. So now I take the pleasure in welcoming our moderator for the day, K. Ram Sudhir, the Head of Acquisition and Partnership, Green Honchos. Can we have a round of applause to welcome our moderator? And we'd like to welcome our panelists. We'll have the chairs, sir. Just kindly wait for a moment. I know a lot of them are tired sitting, I guess. They're like preferring to stand. I understand. So I'd like to welcome the panelists. I would like to welcome Mr. Manish Chowdhury, the co-founder of Wow Skin Science, Body Cupid. Can we have the gentleman on the dais? Mr. Anurag Kedia, the CEO and co-founder of Pilgrim. Would like to welcome you on stage, sir. Stuti Ashok Gupta, the principal of Brand and Vision Amritam. Would like to welcome you on stage. Pritesh Ashar, co-founder and CEO of Juicy Chemistry. Would like to welcome Suraj Chowdhury, the co-founder and CEO of Zlade. Mayur Mahajan, the co-founder of Proxilla. Mr. Akash Bhate, the head of sales, The Man Company. Tarun Sharma, the co-founder and CEO of McCafe. Mr. Pratik Ruhel, the co-founder and CEO of Vanity Wagon. Can we have one round of applause for all the panelists? Can you make yourself comfortable this side, sir? Do you need more chairs? One more. So I think this is the longest panelist we have had, and all the best to our moderator. Yeah, we'll have the mic. Can we have the mic, please? And a few water bottles. This is one interesting topic everybody's always interested in. So I think it's going to be a really interesting one. So it's over to our moderator.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, this is the most power-packed audience or speakers that you can expect, and the wealth of experience, knowledge that we can expect is immense. We got some time to speak, connect even before the session could start, and all of us unanimously have decided that everyone would like to share their insight on certain topics, post which we would like to take a pause and do a lot of Q&A, because I got to know that there are a lot of people who have walked in from different corners of the country to understand and know from the leaders of what it takes to boost, scale up, and nurture and grow the D2C brands in the personal care and skincare space. The way we would like to do is keep it very interactive. My first question would be to the only lady in the house, to Stuti and to Mayur, would be, what are your thoughts on how clean beauty, quote unquote, is gaining prominence among the millennials and the Gen Z customers?
It's okay. So, firstly, I feel that, clean beauty as a concept is not new, the way at least it's branded. Clean beauty has always been a part of our Indian culture when you look back a few generations. And Ayurveda is a great example for that. And in fact, at Amritam, what we are trying to do is also bring in that Vedic science and connect it with modern lifestyle. Essentially, if you look at Gen Z and millennials, they are looking for, largely whether the brand is giving cruelty-free products or not. Then they're looking at clean ingredients because, earlier we would just use a product because a certain celebrity was endorsing it, but now we actually turn around the label and see what ingredients are put in it, and certain brand values that go along with it, and which adds to the clean beauty aspect. And of course, if something is harming environment, then of course it's going to harm you as an individual. So that has also come up in the whole umbrella of clean beauty.
Hello, hi, Mayu this side from Prolixa. As rightly mentioned by Stuti, just to add to this, I believe, according to me, it's about the awareness. Gen Zs and millennials, they are very much aware about the content they are consuming. So they now very much aware about what they want and why they want. That's very much, they are very much, you can say that depending upon the ingredients, they know what ingredient they want and why they want this. And also, I'll say that clean trend is, clean beauty, it started as a trend, but now you can see that Gen Zs and millennials, they take it as a responsibility they are very much conscious about cleaner and creating, like you can say that, for the cleaner environment. And also, I just want to say that they're like, we can call them skin intellectuals. That's it.
Great. So now moving on, let's talk about the credibility aspect of the D2C brands. Pritesh from Juicy Chemistry and Tarun from McAfee. What do you guys think? How are the new age D2C first brands are establishing the credibility? Because we've all been those creators who used to go to the store, someone uses it, then we go check and then take a decision. But here everything is almost virtual. What are your thoughts?
I'll take that. So first of all, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Sitting on this phenomenal panel is something else. Great to connect for the first time like this. With credibility, I think Juicy Chemistry's journey, when it started off, we were asked this question over and over and over again. We are claiming to have certain aspects of the product, the result, the efficacy of the product. How do we, as consumers who are shopping online or interacting with your brand for the first time, know that this product is safe, this product is usable, it gives a particular amount of result that you're claiming that this product will give? So we actually took a very, very differentiated approach to this, because we wanted to answer this question for ourselves first, right? Because everybody was in the space to actually give an experience to the consumer. Obviously, the ways could be very different, but for us, when the question was getting asked, how are you different from another brand that's also claiming to be the same thing, we ensured that we looked at ourselves first at an internal level to understand if the product that we are actually creating for the consumer has the credibility, and how do we establish that credibility for ourselves. So when we looked at our production line because we have a back-end integrated production facility, so when we looked at the supply chain, we looked at it and said, we are getting the supply from a XYZ consumer or a supplier. So this is a name given to the product, but how do we know at the DNA level of this ingredient, is it clean, is it organic, or is it free of things that we don't want it to be? So one of the ways we did that was establishing or having a body which was external, right? A third-party agency that could verify this for us, first of all. So our answer to this question was, certified with EcoCert as a certification body, which actually cleaned up our processes internally. So before I could start making claims, I wanted to understand if these claims are actually validated by somebody. So by having our processes changed from the ground up, we were able to put a lot of guardrails that this is how a product needs to be developed, or this is how the product needs to be formulated. The efficacy mentions that we actually do need to be tested by a third-party agency. So every step of the way that we did, may it be efficacy, or it could be the claim that the product has, it could be organic, it could be cruelty-free, it could be sustainable. We actually went ahead and got a third-party agency to come and authorize this for us, or sort of put their stamp of approval on this, so that we could tell our consumer that the due diligence has actually been done on their behalf by this credible third-party agency, which then allowed us to communicate that to the consumer who has never actually experienced the brand. So we went around getting these in place for the benefit of the consumer.
Super. Yep.
Hi, my name is Tarun Sharma, and the brand name is M Caffeine. I'm one of the founders of M Caffeine. So we get that Mac Caffeine a lot, but just wanted to clarify. I think on the credibility part, as Pritesh said, efficacy product, right? But at M Caffeine, we believe if you have to define brand is the promise of the value you want to give it to the consumer. So it has nothing to do with the price. It has nothing to kitne paise ka hai, right? It is the promise of the value. At M Caffeine, how we define that credibility architecture by way of value is we have these 4 E's if you look at any product or any brand, right? One is efficacy. As Pritesh said, everything to make a product highest degree of efficacious is something which the brand needs to do. So product mein kami nahi ho sakti. You need to make the best product in the world. And then certification, testing, everything comes along, right? So first is efficacy. Second is ethos. So you need to not test it on animal. You need to use these natural ingredients. You need to be plastic positive. You need to do everything which is right to create a highest degree ethos of the brand, of the product. And this is not just for the product, it is also for your marketing communication. That's a different topic. Outside efficacy and ethos, you need to have an experience in the product. So millennials are the no-saving economy. So if you're building it for millennials, if you're building the new age beauty brand, experience is the paramount stuff people need. They need indulgence. Unko dawai nahi chahiye, right? So at the end of the day, you need to build it in packaging. You need to build in the texture. Everything goes along in the experience zone. And at the end of the day, as a brand, your currency is not the balance sheet or the P&L. Your currency is the emotional connect with the brand, with the consumers. And that's an invisible space for all of us to acquire. And if that invisible space is acquired, it is equally difficult to topple that space because it is invisible. So efficacy, ethos, experience, and emotion are the 4 E's on which a brand like M Caffeine would work and continue to work harder and harder. And by way of these 4 E's, we try to create the credibility in the consumer's head.
Thank you, Tarun, for correcting me. It's M Caffeine. Yeah, and I think that's a wonderful, takeaway of the 4 E's, which can be applied by most of these startups who are at the initial stages. Now, my question to Prateek from Vanity Wagon would be, how do beauty and personal care brands drive performance through the digital and social ecosystem now that you have a marketplace and some of the brands are already listed on your marketplace?
Sure. So I'll start off by just quickly introducing myself. So I'm Prateek, the CEO of Vanity Wagon. We are a clean beauty marketplace. So work with a lot of brands that are here and of course many more. So essentially, I think it's a lot about what we were just hearing about credibility. Now, once you've gotten it in your mind that you need to build that credibility, it has to be how you're going to build it. So the best channels for you to do today would be, of course, content and community. The session before this was very clear on that thought that content has to be the central piece, which is what brands are doing today, right? So you see brands creating content that, one, they want to create, and two, their users want to see, right? So content cannot be in silos. I can't create content and expect it to work if it's only in my mind. So brands are doing that today. Any content you see on your social sort of channels, stroke brand websites, stroke television, OTT platforms, it's all about what they perceive the consumers are wanting to consume. And that is the largest piece that helps brands grow today. So content, of course, is a central piece there. And then, of course, second comes community building. So you could build a community through live commerce. You could build a community through social commerce. You could also build a community by doing what exactly Meesho has done, right? So it's a great example how communities are built. And these communities then go a long way in helping D2C brands scale, helping D2C marketplaces like us scale. So I think these two important takeaways would be focus on the content you create, understand your consumer, and give them what you feel is the right sort of content. And then second, of course, is build that community. If you don't work on your community, it's going to be difficult for a brand to keep scaling, right? So that community feeling has to come in.
Great. So my takeaway would be the community feeling here. Moving on from a Facebook ad to a giant billboard. I love this line. That's Suraj from Slate. What we would like to know is, does high repeat purchase justify the high cost of acquisition? We saw in the previous session by Naveen, if a startup is raising funds, the people who celebrate are the Facebooks and the Googles of the world, because maximum money is getting spent there. So yeah, what would be your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think the short answer would be yes, absolutely. And because see, retention is the core fundamental of direct-to-consumer e-commerce. If you are spending any money on performance or any marketing channels to acquire a customer, there are high chances that you're spending very, very high on marketing. And the only way that you could recoup those costs is via long-term customer value, which is retention, which only comes via retention. If you don't have retention, then you have to have gross margins of 80-90%, which is very difficult to achieve. So yeah, I think it absolutely makes sense, and retention takes care of that high CAC problem.
So Anurag, if from Pilgrim, would you like to add to this, because you've been a big supporter of customer experience, technology to being an enabler. So how do brands really make a balance?
So one clarification, we don't use any AI or ML in our technology. Yeah, we don't understand that. Having said that, I think technology has really democratized a lot of information, consumer insights, market research, which was otherwise available only to the larger brands. For example, if today we have to do a poll, you pay Facebook $500 and you get 1,000 responses, which give you clearly what consumers are preferring. The poll could be about a product name, about a certain ingredient, about certain claims you want to make, because there could be multiple claim offerings you could be making. This could be done from your brand handle. If you're doing it with your community, it is no money at all. If you don't want to use your brand handle, you could do a proxy handle and run the campaign from there and get responses in exactly 24 to 48 hours. Something like this in the earlier days would have taken many, many months and lakhs of investments, if not more, to get a good quantitative market research done. Once you have done that, if you want to test out packaging, even before you have launched the product, you could run a marketing campaign and do a split test of 2 different packaging options on your D2C side and test which packaging is converting better, right? If you want to engage with a talent or a celeb, you could actually run a poll on the thank you page. And this is a learning I have got from Fireside, who's there in the audience somewhere. You could actually run a poll on the thank you page, because these are paying audience. These customers have paid to buy a product from you. They will tell you whether a certain celeb or a talent you want to hire, they think whether the celeb or the talent resonates with the brand values or not. And we have run multiple polls when we were trying to think through which celeb options will work for the brand. And the consumers are very clear in terms of what they want for the brand. So the only thing we believe is, कंज्यूमर को पता है, जाके पूछ लो. हमें जो भी पता है नॉर्मली गलत ही होता है. The enablement happens because of technology, because technology allows us to reach out to consumers in various forms. Ask consumers sometimes pointed questions, sometimes quantitative, sometimes qualitative questions. Run A/B tests of various kinds at every stage of the consumer journey. You can measure NPS scores across. How was the website purchase experience? How was the delivery experience? 15 days or 1 month later, how was the product efficacy experience? You could be measuring NPS across and then drilling down on whichever parameters you are worried about for a certain product not performing. So which is why we think technology is a great enabler for us.
Yeah. So the next one is routed to you, which is how are brands embedding technology into their business? What are some of the new initiatives that the brands are adopting? What would be your suggestion to someone who is in the early stages, and they're scaling up? What would be your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, like I said, one is on how to understand consumers, because every step the brand will have a choice. So the classical 4 Ps of what products you want to offer, what pricing you want to sell at, what packaging, what promotion, technology will allow that. Then there is the D2C piece where there is a complete technology stack. We have gone through the journey, and what we have realized is that you go with the standard offerings. If you are starting off, you may not want to try out a lot of experimentative technologies. They are not perhaps suitable for the younger brands like us.
Yep.
If you are at a certain scale, you may have the bandwidth to try out newer technologies. And I'll share one personal example where we started with Magento. Everybody told us, go with Shopify. I think you are also Shopify experts, and we made a mistake. We're now migrating to Shopify. Magento has been a nightmare to manage from a development perspective.
Okay, great. Now, we would like to touch upon the sustainability aspect, because everyone really wants to contribute. Brands really care, and these are those skin care, personal care brands. So, Akash from the Man Company, yeah, betting on sustainability, your thoughts.
Hi, good evening all. So sustainability, yes, I think every brand in personal care, beauty, grooming has to focus on it. One, in terms of the revenue, right? Because today, millennials, Gen Z customers, right, they seek value in the brands who are more lean towards sustainability or clean beauty, right? The other part, as a brand, we need to be aware about, and we need to be answerable to ourselves, what are we doing to this earth, right? So it is both. But the larger picture upon the Gen Z and the millennials, I mean, people who were born in 80s like me, right? Terms like global warming, cruelty-free, all these terms started coming in 2004, 2005, and then the seriousness wahan se aage aaya. But then the millennials, Gen Z were born in that era wherein this was very serious, right? And the information about all this was very quick through social media, through YouTube and all. So today, it becomes an obvious choice while or part of decision making for the millennials or Gen Z to seek value in terms of in brands, wherein brands are lean towards sustainability or clean beauty, right? Saying that, and obviously the millennials or Gen Zs are also ready to pay premium for the same, right?
Yep.
At the Man Company, we also did our bet in the last couple of years. For example, we eradicated cellophane from our packaging 100%, right? Instead of using bubble plastic wraps, we started using honeycomb paper, right? Instead of sending out poly bags of our products in poly bags while delivering through Flipkart or Amazon, we started doing it in corrugated boxes, right? The packs that used to go from our own website, right, for our own orders, we started giving the paper boxes, right? And also we gave a QR code on it on how this paper boxes you can use at home as a pencil stand or pen stand, or a phone music booster, right? So this is so we also did in 2021. We produced plastic wastage of at least 15,000 kgs, but we also made it a point that we recycled for 15,465 kilos as well, right? So, so these are the things that we need to be aware. We need, as an aware brand, right, as a responsible brand, it is our part and our way moving forward in 2022 and 23 is to be plastic neutral brand, and then going forward to be a plastic negative brand.
Sure, super. Moving on to you, Manish, from Wow Skin. I would definitely want to hear your thoughts on the sustainability aspect, because you are one of those brands which is taking India to the global standards.
Yeah, thanks, Ram. Really excited to come back to a virtual conference after many years, but really excited to be with you all. I'm Manish Chaudhary, co-founder of Wow Skin Science, one of India's fastest growing D2C brands. Was lucky to be a part of the initial era of building a brand cheap. Things have eventually got more competitive and more interesting. And it's great for customers, so I always continue to believe that we're a united front for consumers. Just before this prep meeting, I just told them that we might not even be 0.3% of the market size. So there's a lot for us to be done. But just to start off with, we are the first Indian beauty brand to launch a paper tube to start with. If you would have seen few of our commercials on YouTube. Greenwashing is what the millennials say, right? We have fake it to make it. At our end, we are very conscious about being true to our claims. That's what we built the brand from. I think it's initial days as a consumer on what we read, continue to see the Indian consumers a little bit still in the center. We still continue to believe that what can the product do better for us, and then we think for the environment. So we are in that transitional change. But I think we are a couple of years away. But brands like us who are being social, obviously we are a PE-funded company, so we have ESG, which is our compliance as a start off with a lot. So we follow that pretty intensively. But just giving a point of view, we are very innovative in that. But I can promise you a lot of innovation and first mover advantage on waterless. A lot you will see in the next couple of quarters, which we have been working over the last couple of years to excite the Indian consumers. But I hope it's not one of the brands which is trying to do a greenwashing kind of initiative, but we'll be true to what we're trying to claim. Still in a transitional phase, but we'll give it our best on what we can give to our customers.
Perfect, thank you. There was one question that we reserved, and unanimously everyone in this group chose Manish to answer that, which was how quote-unquote made in India brands are going global.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most common question I've been asked for years. A lot of founders come and ask me, I'm going to forget India and I'm going to start selling abroad. I think India is a huge populated country. Focus was always India. But when we started off in 2014-15, we wanted to break clutter. This is a very interesting sector to be in, high gross margin, very exciting to build a brand. We always wanted to do something which was different. Not too sure whether you guys have seen our packaging, but amber and gold is something what we beautified a pharmaceutical bottle. I think we are one of the most ripped off brand today, maybe from large or incoming new brands. But just giving point of view is that we always wanted to do something clutter breaking, and we were lucky enough to do a lot of data read, a lot of screen tests to understand what consumers are searching for, and we built something which was beautiful to start with. But along the way, today we are a D2C brand. I continue to believe in two things, which is there. One is there are two eras of a brand. One is a Doordarshan era of brands. We all know which are the Doordarshan era of brands. And we all are proudly the YouTube era of brands. And the YouTube era of brands are forced to go global. And we were one of those which have taken that route. And I think it's a compulsion to go. We started off very lean, but our LinkedIn messages were just going berserk. Even till date, I get inquiries from globally on countries which even I have not heard, even the smallest ones. That's the power of the internet today. And I think it's not the only wave that we have taken part, but I want to give inspiration to all of you guys to also think, but at the right time. India continues to be a very large market for us. But when we started off, and we as Indians, sorry to say that, we love to discount ourselves too cheap, right? We always say, Indian maal hoega to bikega nahi. But I think we went and did the opposite there. To start with and to give you guys inspiration, Korea is known for the K-beauty. Japan is known for the J-beauty. We are the land of Ayurveda. And we should be able to missionize to become the I-beauty of this country, right? And that is something what we are all on a mission point of view on.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So, A-beauty, quote unquote, for people who would like to take it as a takeaway from this session. We have time to take a couple of questions. This is the best platform when you can actually ask and get to know if there are any.
Good evening, everyone. This is Sushil, co-founder of MPF Style Club. I run a men's lifestyle company. My question to you is, what is the key differentiator in men versus women, personal and beauty care? And what are the key trends that you are seeing in men's beauty and personal care segment? Thank you.
Anyone in specific that you would like to hand over the mic to? We can do that.
Whoever actually is part
I
of the
heard
men-related
the man
ecosystem.
company. So, Akash.
Yeah.
Okay. So for us, it was a journey, right? Men's grooming was something which was very, very new 6.5 years back. The only product which was available at that time was something was Fair and Handsome or Gillette, right? When we actually launched the first beard oil, right, we used to get questions कि इसको पानी में मिला के पीना है या इसको दूध में मिला के पीना है या डायरेक्ट कंज्यूम करना है. So we had to educate the customers over there that this has to be directly applied on the skin, right? And from there, in the 6 years, because of the power of internet, and the awareness that has spread in men's grooming, that today customer asks us that when are you launching products with hyaluronic acid in it, or vitamin C in it, or when are you launching products with ingredients like moringa, right, or a black seed oil. So now women over here on the counterpart always knew about beauty, right? So it has been there for 30-40 years now, right? Since L'Oreal and all these companies have came into India. But for us, it has been a longer journey, right? But I am sure that it's going to get better from here.
Super. I think we can take one more question. Yes.
Don't forget a male in your business model. Don't forget a man in your business model if you want to make it
Yeah,
large.
and Tarun wants to say something.
I think, so Caffeine is a gender neutral brand. And when we say gender neutral, we are not a unisex brand. If this country allows another gender, we should be inclusive of it because ethos are of high degree. What we realized over 4 years is that men are easy to please, but difficult to engage. Women are easy to engage, but difficult to please. And if we can work on the difficult part via our strategies of social, digital, physical, whatever it is, I think there is immense amount of value to be unlocked. Since you asked about both the genders, I think that's what we learned over 4 years. और कैक का मेल में कैक भी कम है तो थोड़े बहुत पैसे बच जाते हैं शायद.
Yeah, yes,
Also
please.
the way the consumers, the buying behavior, right? So women, when they go to the stores, they have a planned way of buying, right? And they have a list of products I want to buy, right? But men, they are more of impulse buyers, right? So even if you're available in offline model as well, then you have to see where your exact placement is, because usually men are just a companion in the shopping with women, right? And then they pick up products at the checkout places, right? So it's more of impulse buying than a planned behavior.
So you mean to say men are worth buying something?
Men
are also worth buying, some of the grooming items. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Neha from KPMG. I originally intended to ask one question, but now I have two because we are talking about gender-specific shopping behavior also here. So my friend there spoke about gender-neutral beauty products, right? And we see right now probably the focus is not much when we talk in Indian context. I see a lot of brands coming up with specialized products for a particular gender, not really on unisex lines, where we are talking about targeting Gen Z. So, I mean, like, what is it that's stopping us here?
Stopping us from?
Having more gender-neutral options, because still we are talking about female beauty products and male beauty products, and market is still flooded with such gender differentiations.
So, to answer your question, Amritam products, most of them are actually gender neutral. What we have seen as a pattern is that mostly women buy for the house, and then men also use it, and we get to know through reviews that we used your hem spa, or my husband loves your this product, or my father uses your hair oil. So all of that happens, but here what I feel is there are three people, one is a buyer, one is a payer, and one is a user. And earlier, if you look at a few decades ago, usually the men were going out and buying for the whole family. But now I think it's turned around and women are going out and buying for, their partners or even their parents. So I feel that it is when it comes to Amritam, yes, when we look at the data, major percentage is women buyers. But when we look at the users, then it's both men and women. So I understand what you're saying, that, there are companies, like there are brands who are specifically focused on men. And I assume you're saying that there are brands who are specifically focused on women. But it's not like that. It's just that the buyer happens to be the women a lot of times, but users are both men and women.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I basically wanted to understand from a company perspective, why aren't we bold enough to accept us as a gender
We do accept we are gender neutral. In fact, he just accepted he's gender neutral.
Very few
Out loud accepted.
Yeah, out loud. I mean, if you wanted to be on our homepage banner, we'd do that. Actually, it's a great campaign idea.
Even the models, I mean, the creatives is also not, I mean, obviously if you're on digital platform, if you're targeting you, it is conditioned in a certain way.
Yeah, exactly.
But as a brand, we are a very hardcore gender neutral brand. I mean, data speaks so. But to answer your question, I think it's a change which is happening. Over 5 years, what we have seen is that this change is not just in our industry, it is across a lot of places. As you see, so there is this hashtag, if somebody wants to follow, there's a hashtag called MCM, Man Crush Monday, and WCW, Women Crush Wednesday, right? The numbers are very ulta than what we are trying to see the change. Just then wo numbers reverse ho jayenge, I think we'll start seeing that, there is a sensitive male who can cry in a movie and there is a woman who can go out on a Royal Enfield and go to Leh. Ye jo intersection jaise bada hota jayega, people will start calling them gender neutral. I think over 5 years...
Also adding to the whole social aspect of how women are sort of expected to do self-care way more than men indulge in it, like the whole social stigma around it. When that reduces, automatically we will see more men buying gender-neutral products the way women do.
Totally agree.
I think so.
That helps, thanks. And the last question is more around, we spoke about K-beauty, J-beauty, and the Ayurveda age, and now coming up with I-beauty. That's an interesting concept. So K-beauty beauty got a push from BTS. So here we don't have a BTS. So what's our plan? I think a siloed approach where we go as one single brand and try to sell in the global world may not help. So is there any collective strategy from a category perspective or the community perspective that we are trying to take here? Yes.
So I think iBeauty revolves around all Indian homegrown ingredients is what you're building, right? I mean, look at what Ayurveda has actually done globally. At least at our end at WOW, we've beautified, made the ingredient look, sorry to say, sexier. And that's how you position it globally, right? So I think that's what you'll see, the revolution on the new age brands which will come up, like all of us sitting here, modernizing the Indian ingredient and romancing it globally as well as nationally. That's something what will play out long term.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for wonderful questions, engagement, and thank you to all the speakers for taking out time and contributing with the wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I request Ritu Maria to kindly join us on stage to recognize our panelists. Can we have Ritu Maria? Can we have Ritu Maria on stage, please? I'm so sorry, we will have Mr. Lokesh Arora to kindly do the honors. Can we have the gentleman forward, please? So could you pose for the picture, please? Can we have a group picture? Request everyone to pose towards the camera. Thank you so much.